So basically, I'm just doing a video on replacing the cables that go from your parking brake to your caliper for your parking brake. The parking brake cables on this car are bad. You can see this one's not so bad, but it's kinked and the plastic's coming off, and the other side is really rusted, and we'll get to that. So we're replacing these guys. So first things first, I'm gonna go in the car and we're gonna have to take out the center console. So what you gotta do is you gotta take this whole assembly out. Now, I just did a video on adjusting your parking brake. Most cases you need to do that, but this is an older car, so I'm also replacing the cables in this one, whereas the other car I just loosened it and adjusted it. So first things first, 2 T20 Torx here, and then behind this door another one right here, and then this whole piece comes off after you take those two out. Pull this off, and if you want to know how to replace the vents, I did it when I had my Jetta. I showed you how to replace it. I'll get to that someday. And then 2 T20s here. So let's get right into it. There's that. And the whole purpose of getting this whole thing out is where you adjust it, but you're going to need to loosen underneath all of this the bolt that holds those cables, and that bolt will allow you to remove the cable and pull it out from underneath the car. So now that I've gotten that out, I just get that one out, and then you're going to need to pull this parking brake up. So if you can see here, that's way too loose, and it's obviously, when I got the car I could feel it, that only one of the cables was catching, or it was way too loose. So obviously I did find out that from underneath the car, if I pulled on one of the cables, there's one of these is not connected underneath here, and they're so rusted it's time to replace it, because this is a 2007. Most people might not think about this, but it'll help keep you safe and prevent more costly repairs in the future. Now you just pull this up and then pull out. Probably want to pull this up a little bit. It'll make that a lot easier. Got that whole piece off. All right, moving on to the next thing. So we've got a screw here, down here, and then take this out, 2 here, and then 1 all the way. Oh, it's actually not there. Okay, it was on the other car. So, and then this whole thing should be able to be rotated upward. Depending on the year, you might not be able to get to that bolt without moving. Move this out of the way. It might have been in the wrong spot on the other car, on that one, because it was kind of different shape, this air tube to the rear vent, but you just pull pretty hard on it. It's got these tabs on it. It just sticks down in that hole, and you pull on it and then pop it out so that you can have access to that screw. All right, so after you get that final screw out, there was not one here, but there should be one there, which is kind of a pain. You gotta have the seat in just the right position and kind of use the crack of the seat. And I couldn't get a socket in there, so I had to use one of these in the other car, shorter T20, just hand tools instead, because it was small enough to fit in that area for that screw. So as I can see, this is obviously a lot looser. This is a 10 millimeter. It's gonna be, well, it's actually pretty far away, but if I loosen it, which I kind of can't, kind of use that to hold it up, but it's so loose that I probably could just pull it out. But yeah, 10 millimeter, just use like a box wrench to get it out and loosen it up enough to where we can actually get these cables out, and then they're going to go through these tubes underneath the car. So the next step after you get these disconnected is to jack up the car. It helps to get this piece out here. It's not the biggest pain to put back in, just kind of like, almost imagine reloading a magazine to put this back in, but just pull it out. That'll free up some resistance, and you can clean stuff up too. So free up some resistance on this piece when you want to put this down. So I want it all the way down to put the least amount. So if you tilt this thing up far enough and you kind of mess with it, you can finally get this piece out, because it plugs in down there and it gets hung up on the back side of the parking brake lever. Because I want to take this whole thing off so I can actually put the parking brake all the way down to have the least resistance on it and know where the zero is before I take these off. So when I put it all the way down, you don't want that, that's really loose. So I can just pull that right out. Actually, I don't even need to loosen it. So now I can just jack up the car and push these through on the underneath, or pull it through from underneath the car. All right, so I'm under the car now. I've got it all jacked up. This is that tube. So in relation to where I'm at underneath the car, exhaust, there's one here and one over here. You follow it back, and it goes all the way back to the caliper on both sides. So as you can see, this one is pretty messed up. Pretty bad. So it's definitely time to replace this, because I mean, that's not ideal for sure. So first thing is I'm gonna go re-release the parking brake, because I had it on for jacking the car up just for safety, and I'm gonna pull it out from here, but I'm also gonna release it from here. All right, so I got this side out. It runs through here all the way up to here. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get your pliers. Break it free, pull it out. So there's that. Obviously you got your hanger there I already took off. Then this guy, which again, just a press in, so pull that out. Then what I did was I pulled it through. Holy crap. Now, here's the part where you get it out. So you can take a crowbar or a pry bar, or I use the breaker bar because it's just long enough because I don't have a crowbar. Push this lever back this way to release this ball from the seat, and then you push in here and here to release it, to pull it out from where it's holding it right there. And it's also a good idea to test it. Make sure if you have seized calipers, or you know, you're doing this to hunt down whether your calipers are seized or not, if they're sticking, see if this fully releases. So also spray some like silicone or gel lubricant like this on the lever here to the parking brake, because they can get gummed up and stick. Just move it back and forth with that crowbar. And so I'm gonna get this one out. You push in here and here, pull it out. What I'm talking about, I got my breaker bar and I'm just pushing this lever back like this to get that ball out. Can't do it with two hands, the whole thing, but you get the idea. Pushing in those little tabs can be a little difficult, but once you get them, then you just kind of work it through, because it's that rubber. Oh, there we go. Definitely. Is that same Corvette? Okay. Yeah, definitely wear some sunglasses if you can, or safety goggles, because there's going to be a lot of crap coming on your face. Well, for the most part. Old versus new. Obviously this is the worst one. This one's not that bad, but you move this, should be seamless. Just a seamless movement. Alright, so now time to install a new one. So what I did, so I just did this side. I fished it through the tube first, and then through this hole, kept it on the outside of the bracket, pushed it in, and then since it's already loose and it's not connected to the parking brake, just pull that little ball out and hook it on. And then when you get everything nice and straight, pop in that bracket right there and make sure that is pushed in all the way here. And then we are golden. So now just grab this one and that's gonna go inside the car. Kind of leave that a little loose so that I can do this. Pull it around through here and up. And then with that little hole here, push this back a little bit. Yep. In there. Yep. And then, oh yep, already clipped in. Finally, just gonna grab the ball, pull it, and actually pull back some of that rubber a little bit, and push that in there. Make sure that seat's good, and then that in, now that it's all, both sides are in, we're gonna go top side into the car again and hook everything up and test it. Make sure it's not pre-engaging the wheels while it's still in the air. So this is what it looks like. I haven't touched them yet since I pushed them through the tube. So now I'll just, you know, pull on a little bit. So I had to loosen it pretty far to be able to slide these on through the side. And then I'm gonna slowly start tightening it, because obviously the old ones were stretched a little bit, so you're not gonna need it. You're just gonna have to play it by ear. So what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna tighten it, you know, test the handbrake or parking brake, whatever you want to call it, and make sure the wheels aren't rubbing. Spin them, make sure you don't hear the calipers or the brake pads sticking any more than they should be normally, because you're always going to hear, not always, but sometimes hear just a little tiny bit of a grind just from but yeah, you'll just get them tight, and you might see one get a little bit further than the other. That's not too bad. Just, you don't want this whole piece to be like turned all the way by one piece, one of these all the way forward, one back. They can be a little bit off, but so I'm going to keep at that and start setting this up properly. So I went ahead and tightened it, and like I said, this one went farther forward. It could be, I did feel that the arm on that side was a little bit looser, but you know, it could be multiple different things. It's not a huge deal, but you don't want it to get super out of whack. So put it back down. So now we're loose, a lot more loose. So the final thing, after you think you've got it just right, have the parking brake all the way down. Wheel should spin about like that. I can hear the brake pads just a tiny bit. Check the other side. That one's a little bit slower. Okay. You have a little bit of resistance, but, and then go up click by click. So there's one click. So I can still spin it. Okay. There's 3. I can still spin it. Okay. So let's check the other one at 3. I could feel a little bit. So there's 3. Just keep doing that until I like it locked up fully at about 5, 6 clicks. So there's 5. So that one I can still spin a little bit. So in this one I can also still spin. Okay. So that means I need to make it slightly tighter. But that is how to replace and adjust, even though I already did a video about that. But how to replace the parking brake / handbrake cables in a GTI, Jetta, Rabbit. It should be the same for, you know, Golf, all that in the Mk5 generation. So 2006 to 2009, and I'm pretty sure this might still be applicable for newer ones and older ones as well, Mark IVs. It's, some of the parts are different. The center console in the Mark IV is a lot easier to get out, but for the most part it's the same process. So thanks for watching.